The workshop's going to start. Everybody, the workshop's going to start. Here, this workshop's on the message, carry the addict. I'm sorry. Carry the message, not the addict. And we have two speakers for this workshop. And I just got one thing I'm going to read. Our public relation policy is based on traction rather than promotion. And we need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. If anyone has a representative of the media, please contact me. I'm Michael. I'm an addict.
I'm Michael.
This first speaker is Robert.
Oh. Good morning, family. My name is Robert. I'm an addict. Again, I'm truly glad to be at this workshop. Glad to be anywhere in the atmosphere of recovery. I was asked to do this workshop on carry the message and not the addict, and I've gave it some thought about that. And I know since I've been in recovery that I've experienced carrying the message and not the addict, and I've also experienced carrying the addict too. And the message. And I was really trying to search and trying to figure out when in my recovery that I had a rough time with that. And I know, again, like I spoke earlier before, that based on how I felt when I first got into this program of Narcotics Anonymous, based on my self-esteem and things of that nature, it was very easy for me to connect and discover that I was carrying an addict rather than just carrying the message. Because when I first got here, y'all told me I had a message, but I didn't want to believe that I had a message. And I kept showing up. And I did a lot of things with people and with addicts. And there's one guy in particular that I remember I was carrying him in a way whereas I know in my heart it just didn't feel right, some of the things that we were doing together, and some of the things that I would allow him to do. When he do them, I wanted to justify that it was okay for him to do them, and to me that's carrying an addict, and see, when it don't feel good, it don't feel good, you know what I'm saying? You don't share it at the meetings. You don't share it with nobody else. It's something you're not doing right. When somebody tell you something, and you supposed to disagree with it, and you agree with it. That's carrying an addict to me. And I found myself doing a lot of that. And the reason why I found myself doing a lot of it, because when I first came in this program, it was a lot of 24 hours went by. That I wanted some approval from y'all. I wanted y'all to like me all the time. So I agreed, And guess what? I discovered that there's days right now when I'll be carrying an addict rather carry the message. So when I seen this topic, I could apply my life to it. I applied my life to it because it caught me. It got my eye right away. I do like people today. I care about people today. I have a lot of compassion, a lot of empathy for people today, and I still like people like me, And I'll do what I can to get you to like me, But there come a time in your recovery when you just have to find some boundaries. You know what I'm saying? You have to find some positive boundaries, and you can't afford to let people cross those boundaries. See, we can be a weak link for a recovering addict too. We can afford and we can stagnate a newcomer and not afford them an opportunity to recover by rushing and picking them up and not giving them a chance to do what they have to do to gain this program, to get what they need. And everybody come through these doors ain't recovering from the same thing. although they could recover from drugs, but a combination of drugs, you know. And so I need to share this too, that ain't no perfect recovering addict in here. And I'm one of those that's not a perfect recovering addict. I like males, females, I like this fellowship, okay? I spoke earlier about me coming out of, I don't know what kind of label you would call our relationship, but it was a relationship, okay? And being in that relationship for 5 years, this lady was very envy and jealous, and if she had it her way, she would have just kept me in a room all to herself. You with me? And I don't even believe the day that I went through this many years of this, this kind of stuff, but I did. So anytime I got a chance to get out and be with y'all, you know what I mean? That was a good. You all was a good excuse for me to be doing something positive. You know what I'm saying? So I cling to a lot of y'all a lot of times. I wanted and needed and being with y'all more than I do now. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like getting out of a prison sometime. Just to get around y'all. And she was the kind of woman that never. She at least she didn't show me that she wanted to understand that. I realized today the kind of person I am is a person that likes to communicate. I like to be open with people. I like to talk to people because that's how I grow. They say it ain't so much of what you say in Narcotics Anonymous, it's what you hear that's going to keep you here. So, I did a little bit more when I was in that relationship with her as far as carrying the message, because I would be so happy to be around y'all, man, when I get an opportunity to be, because every time I was most of the time when I was with her, she just wanted me to, hurry up, be back home. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be there, I'd be with y'all, but I'd really be wondering if, I'm staying too late? What time is it? And, you know what I'm saying? So I couldn't be in two places at one time all the time. So, getting back to carrying the message to the addict, and carrying the message to the addict and not the addict. Another point where my life applies to that to this theme, carrying the message and not the addict, is today. I've had some ladies that's come into my life, and I have to be real careful with that, y'all, because I'll find myself carrying her too, and I've been acquainted with some newcomers in this program, and see, I don't care what y'all say, we're gonna do what we want to do up in here anyway. I just believe that, because Robert done what he wanted to do up in here. Now, whatever pain I get is my pain, but I've come accustomed to liking one lady in this program, and it's like I had been out of a relationship 7 months, and this lady popped up, and I rationalized, and I wanted to know, was it the truth? And I talked to God about it, and I tried to say, I said, man, she real pretty, and she real nice, and and I'm thinking, wow, maybe this is supposed to be for me, but all the time it didn't feel good in here. Something did not set right in my heart, And I guess what it is for the most part is that it felt like I was carrying her. You know what I'm saying? She got like, I think she got about 4 or 5 months clean now, versus 6 years, and it just didn't feel right. I tried real hard. Every conversation we do or have and stuff, it always was off balance. It never was right. And she's very what's the word I'm trying to find here? Opinionated, So I was struggling with this all the time, But again, it didn't feel good. It felt like I was carrying, rather than carrying my message, I was carrying the addict. So that was one good experience I had after getting out of this relationship. I sponsor a lot of people today. When I say a lot of people, it's like this many maybe. And a lot of them, I got one gentleman right now that just got back in the fellowship, and he come back through the doors with arrows stuck in his back and looking real bad. And I have to stop and remember, man, I can't carry this guy. You know, he's been introduced to the program. He's had a rigorous application of the program. And again, I had to ask God, what do I do here? Do I step back and just, be there for him, So I called him the other day, and he was telling me, I called him at work. And the first thing he did was the same thing he's done some years ago, was that he's working on the computer and da-da-da-da-da. So anyway, I'm like, man, look. And he told me, Robert, don't get offended. I got to get this thing done at 9:30, man, and I understand. Now, his wife done called me. The night before, his wife had called me and said, Robert, left a message on my machine. Would you please try to talk to Brad and ask Brad, will he make meetings, And see, and that kind of stuff touches my heart today. You know what I'm saying? If a person concerned about another person that much, where they call one of us, right, to do some 12-step work, it's our job. That's our calling, and so I called him, and he put everything before what I had to say, and that don't feel good. Trust me, it don't feel good, but I had to understand. I had to allow him to go where he got to go. I just do. So, and he told me, he said, man, don't get offended. That tickled me. I was really tickled more than anything, because, man, by all means, don't you think I'm offended? I got a program. Understand? You ain't got to. It ain't nothing on the face of the earth, y'all, today that Robert is that I'm going to put before I put my program. I don't care about kids, because all of them is false gods anyway. The kids is false gods. You know what I'm saying? All this, whatever, everything that you strive for in here, you can turn it into a power greater in yourself. So I have to remember that, And most important is, I want to live today. I don't want to die. See, because what's going to happen first is I'm going to die spiritually. Right? My behaviors is going to change. And from there, I'm going to the dope. You watch. Everybody that leave here, their behaviors change first. And it don't have to be at no meeting, but it's going to change. And they're going to leave here and they're going to go get high. See, because we know better today. We know that we don't have to use no matter what. Right? So if we leave we ain't going to the dope house skipping and hopping. We ain't going to go down like the yellow brick road. We're not going to go that way. We're going to go find an excuse. We're going to have to be saddened about something to go to the dope house today, because we know there's a better way to live. So, I had to be careful with my sponsees today about carrying them and rather than carrying the message. And I really want to say this, that one of the things I know that don't feel good about carrying an addict is that when you co-sign another addict's bull stuff, you know what I'm saying? When you find yourself just buying into their madness, you're not living the program. You are carrying that other addict because you're not being a help to him. One guy called me one night where he was really trying to call another addict, and he got my number. He got the Roberts mixed up. And he called my house. And at this particular time, when he called, it was good that we connected, because I was able to ask him some questions, because this guy that's real dear to me, at one time was real dear to me. I was doing a lot of things with him that I wasn't really pleased about. And his sponsor called me one night, and I asked him, and he told me something that was so profound. He said, Robert, I said, man, I'm not satisfied with every time this guy do something, he come back to me and I suggest that he do it another way, and he do it his way anyway. And then he come back and want to lay the pain on me. And he told me, he said, Robert, one thing is clear, man. He said, one thing about us. See, we forget and get confused about how to become friends to another recovering addict. How we make friends around here is the right way we make friends around here is to do the things necessary to do. And what I had to do was stop buying into his bull. When he would do things, and I suggest to him through my experience, and tell him to do it that way, and he didn't do it that way, he do it his way anyway, and come back to me with it. He said, Robert, what you might have to do is just tell him, man, you're not going to buy into that, and don't do it, and let him go. And I was glad to hear it from his sponsor, so I done that. He said, Robert, the benefit of that is that one day he might come back to you, it might be months or 6 months down the road, and tap you on your shoulder and say, thank you, man. And so that just shined a whole new light on my recovery that made me look at an area that I didn't want to look at. I thought if we just co-sign other people's bull around here that we would be okay for being a friend. But that ain't how we become friends with each other around here. We in the business of saving lives around here. And that's one way we can do that. You know, if somebody is hurting, we must allow them their pain. Because ain't none of us in here therapists. You know, we need to allow that person their pain because they will grow up. They will grow through their pain. One thing we can do is not ask them don't use. You know. What can we do to keep them from using? Other than that, we need to allow them to have their pain. So I have to be real careful, and that's the reason why I selected, I wanted to do this workshop was because I love Narcotics Anonymous so much today, and I don't want to see nobody use no drugs, man. You know, that's just where my heart at today. I don't want to see nobody use, and I think I got people in my life that don't want to see me use. You know, I was sharing with a guy coming up here that, you know, I had one tragedy in my life. This was in the relationship that I was in that I don't know what took place that particular time, but it was a time where I really felt empty enough to go use, you know. And I couldn't muster up enough courage to do it. I just couldn't do it, man. You know, I was just waiting on the disease to say, let's go, man. But see, I know it's proven that if you live this program, if you work these steps, and if you stay plugged in and make meetings, when the time comes, when the high tides come for you, you won't have to pick up. You know, I mean, and I show you how beautiful God is. There was an addict, and I don't know where he at today, but that particular day I was connected to him, and we went to a meeting, and we left that meeting, and I had talked to him enough to tell him how much I was hurting, right? But that's all I wanted him to do was to hear my pain, and I thought he was just gonna leave, and I was gonna drop him off, and he was gonna go home. You know, he turned around and told me, he said, "I'm not leaving you, man. I'm gonna stay with you the rest of the day." You know, and I heard other people say we do that, right? But I didn't think nobody would do it for me. And I didn't run him away. I didn't say, I'll be all right. I needed him. You know what I'm saying? And God know I needed him. And we left and went to another meeting. And on the way to the meeting, I was telling myself, me and my committee was saying, you know, I don't know why I'm going to this other meeting. It ain't going to make me feel no better. So be careful, because that's what your disease is going to dictate to you. It's just waiting, it's cunning, and it's powerful enough. I don't care how well you work in your program. This is what's going to happen. When you're in pain, your disease will be your best buddy. You would think, well, he would let up off me now. You know what I'm saying? But that's what he waiting on. He don't care. He don't have no respect for hurt and pain. You know? And I went to that other meeting, and like I told y'all, when I went there and went in, I said, I'm just going to another meeting. I'm not going to get anything out of this. They don't have the right answers. I'm hurting. They don't understand. And God knows, man. I went to that meeting, and I sat down at a table where a guy shared just what I needed to hear. And I left out of there feeling real good. And I just still could not believe that that was supposed to happen for me. So it happened, you know. I got some relief that day. And I told him, thank you. When we left that meeting, I went home. I really felt, it was just, I don't know what it was that guy said today, but it's amazing. You know, that's why, again, meetings are so important, you know. So maybe that's another way to look at, this guy was carrying me that day, okay? It's okay maybe sometime to carry that, you know what I mean? So he's able to do for himself again. But on the other hand, again, that title, Carry the Message and Not the Addict, means this for me. It means that when a newcomer comes through the doors of Narcotics Anonymous, we must allow them to recover. You know, because we want to cling on, and you know, and I need to share this too, that we all got our opinions around here about recovery, right? And you know, I've been in these doors and at these tables a few 24 hours, and God knows, you know, the recovering people that come through the door, it's a little bit different than it used to be. I don't know if the pain is worse now than it was when I got here, you know, but I come through here as a heroin addict the first time, you know what I'm saying? And there was people I call them volunteers. There was volunteer recovery addicts at the meetings when I first got here. You know what I'm saying? It's different today. You know, most of us are shipped through here through a court, you know, or something like that. You know, and that's why it takes so long for you see it flip so much, because they don't know what they're here for. They don't know if they want to stay here. You know, and back then, man, you know, the whole thing when I first got here was you recover or die. It ain't changed. The literature has not changed. It's still the same. You know, we up here in this park and all that, but the bottom line is we here to save each other's life. When last and everything is said and done, that's what we here for. Our primary purpose is to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. I don't care how many cars you buy up in here, how well your home look. When all is said and done, when you get ready to stick your key in your door to walk up on your new porch, right, and stick your disease and say, man, you really don't deserve to have this. And you be like, who's that? That's the disease talking. It don't stop. I respect my disease in a special way today. I learned to respect my disease. You know, and some days I get a break. You know what I'm saying? Like today, I just choose not to let my disease be in company with me today. So I'm grateful to be here. If you're sponsoring people, keep sponsoring people. You know, it's important. But by all means, take a real good look, because the addicts come through the doors today, you understand, they are really confused, they're frightened, they shattered. And they ain't stayed out there. A lot of them ain't stayed out there that long. You know, and their attitude is not the same. Their attitude ain't the same as when years ago when I first come through the doors. You know, we was tired and painful. These people come through the doors now, you understand, they just coming through here to dress up, get healthy, and get that sheet signed. And they, hello, I see you. You know, and some of them so inconcerned about the sheet, they leave the sheet where they going. You know, but it ain't about the sheet. You know, a lot of them don't know. And what our job is, I believe, is for us to let them know what they really here for. You know, the young people that come through the doors now. I look at the young people come through the doors now, and I be wondering, I be hoping I have the right thing to say to them to keep them here. You know, because they are the life of the program. The newcomers, the life of the program. You know, they the one gives me the enthusiasm to keep coming back, because I know the pain ain't getting no better out there. It's still kicking ass out there right now. It's still kicking ass. When that boy stood up last night and said he had one day clean, man, it's a miracle. Do you know what it means like to just get up in my active addiction and say I want to be clean, don't want to use just for the day? I couldn't do it. Before the day was gone, I was automatically, if I didn't want to think about getting high, my disease said we got to have one. I don't know what you want to do, but we go. You might want to stay at the real park, but we going to get high, man. And then that was a hell of a struggle, because now a part of me, some spiritual little being of me, a spirit part of me, want to not use, and I got the disease over here packing on the, let's go, Robert. And I got to snap out of whatever I'm doing and get busy, you know. See, and that's the reason why we got gratitude to wake up in the morning and say we don't have to use no matter what. Because, you know, it wasn't fun, man, getting up every morning, man, putting on my shoes, my pants, getting ready to go back out, and don't know what's going to happen. Don't know. I don't know if y'all was anything like me. There was a lot of mornings I woke up, it wasn't for sure was I going to make it back. I didn't know what, because see, the disease was so cunning, so baffling, I didn't know what I was going to do. And that crack took me to a place I don't never want to go no more. Yeah. Crack cocaine took me somewhere I don't never want to go no more. I was doing pretty good with the heroin, but boy, that crack come along, and Lord, that just changed the whole thing. And it was real scary for me in closing. I mean, it was so scary for Robert. You know, I look at the people that's still smoking today, and I wonder, where they at? They lost. They lost. See, they in the pits of believing that they just can't nothing help them. Mm-hmm. That's where they at, y'all. So, you know, I really need to say this here, because this is my message. And my message is, if you know anybody out there practicing today, when you leave this convention, if you see somebody out there that's still using, give yourself a minute to believe this, that when you was out there using, If somebody had just walked up to you and said, there's a program called Narcotics Anonymous. We make meetings and we stay clean. If you want to come, I'll be willing to take you. Just allow yourself the privilege of doing that. Because, see, guess what's going to happen? Maybe they won't come with you right now, but at least they got something up here besides what they already had up there. See, that's what we got to remember. Lay something on our minds, man. That's why we keep coming back, because we keep getting fresh stuff up here. See, if we just kept getting the same message all the time, we'd leave too. So the addict is out there practicing, man. If somebody had came up to Robert and said, hey, Robert, there's a program called Narcotics Anonymous, I had to find this program the way I did. If somebody had tapped me and said, hey, they got a meeting. See, that would have made me feel like I can be a part of something. That's what they out there walking around right now, using, don't believe. They don't believe they can be a part of anything. So this year I have found myself doing more message carrying, you know what I'm saying, than carrying the addict. You can carry the message by example, but it feels good also, man, to just lay something on the addict that still practices mass sometimes. And it don't take no whole lot. I ain't saying park your car and get out and go over there where they rolling rocks at either. I ain't say do it like that. But there are certain ways you can get your message across to somebody. So I'm honored and privileged again to be here. I hope if I said something that somebody got something out of, that was God. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm still Michael. I'm a recovering addict. Our second speaker is Lori, and she'll give you a message.
My name's Lori and I'm an addict. I didn't realize how unstable this table really was.
Unstable.
Want your pop?
No, I don't know.
Oh. I'm glad to see everybody here today, and I'm glad that God was able to bring me back again this morning. When I seen the topic, carrying the message, not the addict, I was confused between this one and another workshop, and I really prayed to God and asked God to guide me on which workshop to speak at. And I ended up here, and I guess it's because I have a lot of experience in this area. I'm the perfect let me fix you and make you better at my expense person. First year and a half of recovery, it was probably focused more on what I could do for you than what I could do for me. If I got you happy, then it made me feel better. People pleasing. And that's not carrying the message. That's carrying the mess. In probably the last year of my recovery, since the last convention, I've gone through a lot of hell. I've gone through a lot of personal, how can I carry the message without picking up your garbage and carrying it with me? I've realized that the only way that I can do that is by setting up boundaries. By knowing what I'm capable of doing and what I just can't do. No matter if I'm able to do it, I still can't do it. I can't help you recover, or I can't carry you and help you recover and do my recovery at the same time. I've really been lately struggling with the how much do I do before I say that's it. It's a really hard decision to make. I know that I can and do share my experience, strength, and hope, because I do have that. What I don't have experience, strength, and hope, and I need to remember to say, I do not have that experience, strength, or hope. And I need to keep my mouth shut and guide them to someone else that might have that experience, strength, and hope. It's real easy to get into the people-pleasing manipulation stages in recovery. It's it's real easy to do that. Been there and done that a lot through my recovery. Since I've gotten in recovery, life on life's terms has been really overwhelming. It's been overwhelming a lot. And to be able to separate what is mine and what is not mine has been the toughest road. By carrying the message, not the addict, to me means to work on what I can do for me, share my experience, strength, and hope, and go out of my way a little bit, but not against my gut, not against what I know feels wrong, like when Robert was talking about that. It's hard to define what's okay and what's not, but once you're in a relationship, whether it's a platonic one, whether it's just a friendship, whatever type of relationship, once you're in that relationship, you know whether it's an okay relationship or whether you're carrying them. The important thing for me is, which I'm real grateful, nobody carried me when I came through the doors. And they let me go through my own experience, strength, and hope in the beginning. It's real important to me that I made those errors, because without those errors I wouldn't be able to be here today. And to the person that I was before I got through these doors to the person I am today is a big change. And I know that, but sometimes my low self-esteem tells me that it's not true. When I carry the message of experience, strength, and hope, then I'm doing what Narcotics Anonymous has taught me. When I don't carry that message and I start fixing you and doing things for you at the expense of myself, that's my own self-centeredness. That's my ego, that's my low self-esteem, that's my shame, that's my guilt. And I can read these today. It's been a tough road in recovery. Nobody works a perfect program. Like Robert said, there's no perfect recovering addict, but I also know that if I don't make these errors, I can't have any experience, strength, and hope. It's real important for me to remember that I need to deal with my shit, not yours. I need to own up to what I've done, make the amends for what I did when it comes to that step, and go on with my life. The steps are put in an order for a reason, and nowhere in the steps does it say I'm supposed to carry you. It's real hard to get humble enough to say I can't. That was something I was always taught, was you can't do this. You're not capable of doing it. That's too much for you. You don't know how. Well, today I don't care if I know how or not. If I know, I can try. It's okay if I fail. It's okay. As long as I know I'm doing the right thing for the right reason, I'm staying clean, and I'm reaching out and going to meetings and working steps. I know that I can do anything that's possible. I've got a sponsor that is very, she gives that tough love. She doesn't co-sign my shit, and I don't want her to. If I don't get it rough and to the point, I don't understand it. You cannot cushion anything with me. And when she gives me this tough love, and she gives me, well, what are you going to do? And that's one of her famous sayings are, pay attention, and what can you do? It's like, alrighty, I hate that pay attention. That just drives me nuts. Every time I talk to her, she says, well, this is God telling you maybe to pay attention. Just be still and pay attention. And I tell her all the time, you pay attention. I don't want to pay attention. And it drives me crazy. God love her, but it drives me crazy. But when I do pay attention, I can carry the message, and I don't need to carry you. When I carry you, that's my low self-esteem. And that's something I'm realizing today is low self-esteem. I've read so many books about self-esteem and guilt and shame and resentments and keep it simple, and so many in the last year that I could puke. This last year I bet you I bought, and I think my husband can vouch for me, I probably bought 50 books on how to, what to do. You know, it's like, and I've read all but probably 2 or 3 of them. And if I applied everything these books said, man, I'd be God. I really would be. But the bad thing is I'm the type of person, I can read and read and read, and it goes in one ear and out the other. I still go with self-will. And I need to know that self-will is a part of recovery. You go through it. You're going to go through it. I don't care how much time you got, that self-will still creeps back in. And until you recognize it and do something about it, and it comes in different forms. Like my sponsor always told me, they're dressed in different suit on different days. You don't know what it's going to look like. And it's true. It's true. It's hard to carry yourself and a message alone, another addict. I've had people stay overnight at my house. I've had people live with me. I've had, taking people here and there and doing this and that is done. That's old behavior of, I can fix you. I'm a placater. I'm going to make it better for you at the expense of myself. And I need to remember that recovery is a selfless thing, not selfish. Yes, my step work is selfish, but I have to share with the sponsor. I go to meetings, and what I share is mine, but I'm still giving it to you. So I don't know of any part of the program that is selfish. I hear a lot of people say this is a selfish program. No, ma'am. No, sir. It's not a selfish program. Anything we get, we have to give in order to keep it. It's real hard for me to deal with life on life's terms, and that's what I thought of when they said carrying the message and not the addict. It's hard for me to deal with life on life's terms and know the right thing to do. That's why I go to meetings, that's why I work the steps, and that's why I have a sponsor. There's nothing that I don't feel I can share at the tables unless it's going to harm me. And I pour a lot at the tables. If something's bothering me, I'm going to give it to you guys. And that's how I carry the message. I can't be an enabler anymore to anybody else. The falls that you make are going to be spiritually rewarded. They're going to be. They have to be. Any pain, to me, in the long run, I'll have 3 years June 12th, and in these past 3 years, all the pain that I've gone through, I am so grateful for. Yeah, I've cried. Yeah, I've last year I heard this addict really cuss out her God, and it freaked me out. And yeah, I've went there with my God. I did that this morning. I'm going through a lot of things now. I have a brother that's dying. I'm going through a lot of pain, and yeah, I'm venting to my God. I'm not saying, like most of the addicts I've heard say to their gods, but I am saying, why me? What have I done? And I need to remember that it's nothing I've done. And there's fear there. And I need to remember that any time that there's fear, I'm going to get over it. I know I'm going to. This too shall pass. I hate that saying. But it's true. Everything passes, including carrying the addict. I truly believe that if we set up our boundaries and if we keep our boundaries straight. It's a bummer to stand behind your boundaries. I've hurt people's feelings. I've done all sorts of stuff, and I work in a place where I can hurt people's feelings like that and not even realize it. One of my worst weapons is my mouth. It really is. And I know that everybody in this room can probably identify. Good morning. And it's something that, as I keep coming back, and I hear you guys share your experience, strength, and hope, I learn how to deal with. To me, carrying the message, not the addict, just means pay attention to what you're doing and don't worry about what somebody else is going through. Don't carry it on yourself. If you didn't play a part in it, don't own it. What you did do, own, look at it, face it, deal with it, put it behind you. Not carry it with you for 24/7. I can beat myself up for things that I've done in the last 37 years of my life. But I'm not going to do that anymore. I did that for the first 34 years of my life. And once I got in recovery, people told me I'm not responsible for what I did. I'm only responsible for what I'm doing. And I truly believe that that means even since I've been in recovery, at the trials and errors that I've made, I need to own them. I need to make the amends for them when the time is right. But I don't need to carry them forever. There's one person in this room that's sitting here that I have a lot of guilty feelings for because of something I did. And I plan on getting with that person at this convention and clearing the air. And it's real important for me to realize I need to own my part. That's carrying the message and not the addict. Making you feel guilty is not a part of this program. Nobody's told you today that they love you. I truly do. I'm grateful that I'm here. I'm grateful that all you guys are here. And I didn't come here this morning and get a warning ticket on the way, so I must be okay. I did that yesterday. Happy birthday to anybody who's celebrating a birthday. We do have a newcomer in the room, and I want to welcome the newcomer in the room today. You truly are the person that we focus on. And I love you all. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori and Robert. We're going to open up the podium for anybody that'd like to share. Does anybody like to come up and share?
Oh, I'm so grateful to be here, y'all. Hi, family. I'm an addict named Rosemary. Hi, Rosemary. Oh, Lori, thank you. You know, I love too hard. You know, and there's a difference between tough love and loving too hard. And I'm a rescuer, you know. I'm an enabler. I identified. I was sitting there. I was like, oh, yeah, right place. I've made a lot of mistakes. You know, I've had addicts living with me. I've had picked up addicts from dope houses, you know. I've cleaned up. They've gone through withdrawal on my couch, you know. And I thought these were all the right things to do. And I lost a little piece of myself every time I did that. And I've learned that in this process, this is a selfless program, but I gotta have something to give to you. You know, and that's working the steps. That's working with my sponsor. You know, I have a long distance sponsor, and everybody asks me, well, how do you do that? I said, you know, I tear out the pages out of my journal. I call her. I call her when times are good, when times are bad. She invites me over to her area. I invite her all the time to mine. We share gifts, something that was real difficult for me, you know. She's one of those people that, you know, she shows me her love and affection through gifts, you know. And I got a problem with that, you know. I give of self. And I'm learning that sometimes just listening is the best thing that I can do. The reason why I came here is because when I came to this retreat, because this is not a convention for me, it's a retreat. You know, I had a real great spiritual connection the first night that I was here, you know, with the moon and my God and getting self back. And what I'm learning is that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay not to have all the answers. It's okay that I may not know it all, because, you know, I'm one of those, I know it, suffer from noitis, you know, and I want to give and give so much that sometimes I forget to serve myself. And see, when I got early in recovery, I was so hungry to feel comfortable with self that, you know, I didn't work the steps. You know, I was so hungry for you to accept me and love me that I got involved in service real quick, and I got involved in the field, which is real difficult for addicts in recovery to be involved in the field, and some of you know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to keep it in a general way, but this is who I am. And then it took me a long time to learn how to wear the different hats, and I'm a big believer in sponsorship, because in my area, women had a tough time recovering when I came into the program, and I needed these women to be there for me. So it was selfish, you know. Okay, we got to get an atmosphere recovery, we got to start working the steps, and we got to stop buying into a lot of the bullshit. And I thought that was my responsibility. Again, self-centeredness is the core of my disease. But I'm real glad to say that all those experiences, all those mistakes, all those lessons that I learned, this is the result, and it's still a process. It's still continuing. And I know that in my area, Northwest Indiana, that there's some great recovery. There's some good women in the program that are actually carrying the message of Narcotics Anonymous, and I am grateful. I don't feel so alone, because in the beginning of my recovery, I felt alone, and I didn't feel a part of. And I'm not blaming anybody, because, I know that was my shit. And it's because I loved too hard, and I people-pleased, and, I wanted to fit in, and I wanted to be accepted, and the low self-esteem and not being comfortable with self allowed me to make all those mistakes. But God is good all the time, and a lot of the times inside of this journey or this path that I'm taking, I'm gonna take a U-turn, or yield, or a left turn, or a right turn, and then sometimes it's gonna be confusing for just a little moment, and then when I get to that other side, that solution side, when I get out of the problem, when I step out of the way, when I allow him to do his majestic work, then it's like, oh, that's real simple, but it's only through hindsight. I stand up for Narcotics Anonymous because I've adapted my life to this program, okay? And I don't have to shove it down people's throats like I did before, because Narcotics Anonymous doesn't need me. I need Narcotics Anonymous, Sharing earlier today about why I came here, and it's the first time that I've been to Camp Mac, and God, I'm coming back. Really, I am. Because it's like, I'm so, there's a lot of things happening this weekend, I'm praying real hard not to get into personalities, not to rescue people, not to fix it. I don't want to get caught up in the middle of no bullshit, and I'm real likely candidate because I always volunteer for that kind of shit, and I'm trying not to do that this weekend. And you know what? I'm doing it because I'm out of the way. I stepped out of the way, and I feel real good. One of the things that I'm really learning about is to carry the message, my experience, and that sometimes the only thing that I could do is learn how to listen and listen to learn. And because I love to talk and I don't shut up and the brain keeps, it's real difficult for me to do that sometimes. But I'm really learning how to do that, and I'm grateful. I finally realized that it's okay not to know, and it's okay that I can't fix my sponsees, and I can't get them on the page that I'm at all the time. That I got to allow them to learn those lessons, and I got to allow them to fall down, and I got to allow them to hurt, and I got to allow them to go through pain. And even though it's like I know that that's what they got to go through, and I may not like it, that's how they get this. That's how they broaden their base. That's how they get a foundation. That's how they stick around and stay here for me. Because I'm real good at saying sponsorship is a two-way street. And I love your sponsor because she sounds just like mine. And I get angry at her all the time. That's when I say, I'm not calling that heifer anymore. I ain't going to call her. She always tells me that shit I don't want to hear. But, when I look at it, I can't do anything but what role am I playing? What am I responsible for here? What am I doing? Every time, it never fails. Every time I got to call back and say, you know what, you were right. I love you, because she knows how to give me that tough love, and she's teaching me how to give it to somebody else. I will no longer allow another addict to live with me today. See, and I got to keep it in today because, see, I don't know what's going to happen when I get back home. Today, in this moment, no, because I went through a lot of pain. I went through a lot of pain in that situation, and the end result or the outcome didn't turn out like I wanted it to. But I know prayer is powerful, and I know that my God has a plan, even though I am not privy to what that is at any given time. And today, see, I'm getting real good at being okay with it, not being, some information, the inside track, that I have. Because I used to think, that I was God. That I could fix, manage, and control and make everything happen and make everything so peaceful and loving and kind. And that's not the real world. That's not my reality anyway. I'm learning about unconditional love, and this place, we grow with love, just the theme. It's like emanating from people. You could feel it, and I know that's God doing his greatest work. And I know that all I have to give is the message, and the message is not mine, it's yours. You gave it to me. It's the message of Narcotics Anonymous. And I got to keep that up front, because I'll bring my garbage in real quick, and it's not the message, it's the mess. It's my sick, self-centered shit, and I got to realize that. I got to keep that up front. I always say, okay, did you learn this from NA, or is this that other stuff? I got to talk to myself like that, because I sometimes forget, and because I love too hard, I want to fix you, and then I want to pamper you, and I pat you on the bottom, and that's not healthy. See, that's what I'm learning. I'm learning how to have healthy relationships in Narcotics Anonymous. I want to feel comfortable, I didn't say well, because I don't know what that state of mind is, and I suffer from an incurable disease I may never know. But I want to feel comfortable inside where I truly live. And I'm getting that through Narcotics Anonymous, because you guys give me that. And it's only when I stay out of the way, The greatest gift that Narcotics Anonymous gave me was love. And that's all I have to give back to you. That's all I got.
Anybody else would like to share for a few minutes?
I'm an addict, and I'm Nellie. Hi, Nellie. So getting up here in front of these people. I'm a strong believer that God puts people in my life for a reason. I met this girl, and when I was in detox, and when I first saw her, I was like scared of her, because she was different. And God put her in my life for a reason. I think so. You gotta be patient with me. It's coming from my heart. I'm trying to share. She has organic brain damage from drugs, and if you would see her, she looks like she can be retarded or something. But all kinds of people are trying to recover from drugs. But anyway, my sponsee sister is her sponsor, and she asked me to take her to meetings with me. She was going out of town, and I was like, okay, but I didn't really want to do it, at first. But I prayed to my higher power, and I asked him to let me do the right things for the right reasons, to guide me through my recovery, And she's a very special person. She's smart, If you just sit and listen to her, you have to listen to her to understand her. She's a very sweet person, and I started taking her to meetings with me, and it got to a point, and I was doing it from out of my heart. I wasn't doing it because I felt like I had to do it, because I felt like I can learn something from, any addict, and it had gotten to a point where she was like dependent on me to come and pick her up, It had gotten so far that I had to draw some kind of boundaries too. That I had to go to my sponsor, I would have rides, I would, call addicts. They used to pick up a phone if you don't have a ride, and call the addict. They may come pick you up. And that's something that she wasn't doing. She was, I would go and pick her up all the time. And we was at a meeting, and she had gotten a ride there. But after the meeting, I was telling her, I won't leave you here, and I found myself walking around going to ask recovering addicts, could they give somebody a ride home? And this one recovering addict asked me, why are you walking around asking for somebody else to ride home? Where is she at, I was like, well, she outside. Well, she's like, well, I can't give her a ride home, and they directed me to somebody else. But I found myself going around asking other people for rides for her, and then when somebody else would come and pick me up, and she would need a ride, we would go and they'll come pick me up, then we'll go and pick her up, and they'll have to drop me off at home, and then go and drop her off, and it had started to bother me, and I knew it wasn't right, and I had to talk to my sponsor about it, and then I started feeling guilty, and my sponsor said, you can't carry the addict, and she's like, don't feel guilty, she has to learn how to pick up the phone and call, just like you do,
Okay.
And then there was another time, she called me, and I was feeling bad, but I had to, draw them boundaries and tell her, well, I don't know how I'm going to get to the meeting. And I said, did you call some people on your list? And she said, yeah, I tried a couple of people and they're not home. I was like, you still got some more numbers? She said, yeah. I was like, okay, call, and she called me back. I told her I'd call her back at a certain time. I was on the phone talking to another addict that lives far away, in South Chicago, coming to pick me up, and but we ended up going to pick her up, but she called me. Well, she called me, and she's like, and she gets frantic, she gets frantic, and she is really trying, I don't mind helping an addict, that's really trying, and she says that she had called 10 people and she couldn't get no ride, and so it's like, okay, I'll be there to pick you up at 7 o'clock. So that's what I did, but I seen her at a meeting last week, and I was sitting there wondering, and I was talking to her sponsor, and I was like, I wonder if she's mad at me, and, but I just had to share that, carrying a message and not the addict, and I'm new in recovery myself, and
Welcome.
thank you, and but I pray to my higher power, and I try to do the right things for the right reasons, and then when it started feeling uncomfortable, I knew it wasn't, coming from my heart, but she's learning now how to call other people. She's learning how to call other people and get other rides instead of just calling, depending on me, and I ain't got no car. I'm getting rides from somebody else, But she's very sweet, and I love her, and by the grace of God, there go I, and I love her, and I hope she stay around and try to. And I'm enjoying myself. And I feel full, and thank you for listening. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tempest. I'm an addict. Hi, Tempest. Hi, family. I'm glad to be here. I'm real happy to be clean today. I was just sitting here looking around, people getting phone numbers. I said, dang, maybe I don't have nothing to give. Nobody asked me for my phone number, but that's just my sick thinking. A person did ask me for a number. I remember when I came around, I was in a relationship with my significant other, and I've been with this person for almost 3 years now, and she pretty much carried me through the whole time that we've been together. And then I did a 4th step, and I moved out on my own, and I had to take responsibilities of being alone and trying to reach out and get my numbers and hang out with other people and stuff. And I really collapsed too, because I depended on that person. I pretty much fed off of what she had, her recovery, and I drained her. But today I do know that I have a God of my understanding, and I have to keep the focus on me, and I have to do what I'm supposed to do, get a sponsor, read the NA text, go to meetings, and don't use in between. Because, see, I'm the type of addict that I'm just like everybody else, self-centered, and I feel like I'm just a little kid in this. I feel so young. I feel like a baby. You know, I was crying this morning. There I go again. I had to pull a lady to a side. I've been pulling different women, and I got issues in my life, but I'm trying to get a solution. It's just the loneliness just come over me all of a sudden. You know, I couldn't take no shower this morning. I was powerless. Still haven't taken one, but I had to remember the time when I didn't take a shower. Damn. You know, I didn't take showers, and I had to pull this lady to the side, and I want to thank you. You really helped me get out of myself, you know, because I was just losing it, man. My mind run 24/7. I still don't know who I am. All I know that I want to change. That's all I know is I want to change. And this time, I still have that person in my life a little bit, but I mean, it's not like it used to be. You know, I'm just on the road to recovery with the God of my understanding, because this person I think was pretty much my God. And but seem like now, due to me staying focused, I feel just a little bit better about myself, but it's more scary because I don't know what the outcome going to be. I didn't know what it was going to be then, but I wasn't alone. But you know, God is going to do for me what I can't do for myself, but the God of my understanding is not going to do for me what I can do for myself. I'm a firm believer of that, you know. So I told this addict this morning, I shared with, I was upset because I thought I was supposed to be all filled up by now, you know. See, that's my thinking, but she told me that, you know, maybe it happened down the line, I'm getting what I need, you know. And sometimes I just want all the attention and stuff, you know. I need to fucking grow up. If not, I'ma die. That's just the bottom line, you know. If I don't grow up, I'ma die. And I try to stay focused on me. And I don't get in other people's mess. I love everybody. I like everybody. That's for today. But I need help. You know, I need help, and I do reach out. And I feel like no matter if you're younger than me or older than me, when I reach out, I feel like I have fear. I'm scared. I'm nervous. Then I look at you as a parent, you know, like you're my big mom or something. That's how I feel, you know. That's just my thinking. I don't know if other people felt that way, but it's real humiliating because I think I know it all and I got it going on. But I'm like, damn, but I need some help here. I'm trying to change, you know, and I'm just really scared of life on life terms. I'm really scared, and I was sitting there, I said, I ain't got nothing I don't have a message to carry, because I was just on a dry, I was just dry for 2 years, but I do have a message to carry. There is hope. I do have something to give, you know. If I don't know nothing else, I know 5 things. Don't go to meetings, read the NA text, call your sponsor, and pray like hell. And with that, I'll keep coming back.
I'm Michael. I'm still an addict. I asked an addict named Angela to read just for today before we close with a group hug.
I'm Angie. I'm an addict.
Hi, Angie.
Just for today, my thoughts will be on my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs. Just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery.
Just for today.
I will have a program. I will try to follow it to the best of my ability.
Just for today.
Through NA, I will try to get a better perspective on my life.
Just for today.
I will be unafraid. My thoughts will be on my new associations, people who are not using, and who have found a new way of life. As long as I follow that way, I have nothing to fear. Just for today.
Thank you.